tax filing. Our webinar will be focused on the policies and procedures for the filing and payment of income taxes by partnerships and corporations. Your attendance at the webinar is particularly gratifying given that the magnitude of tax payments made by the business community each year. The Bureau is committed to keeping you well informed of any developments that will facilitate your tax compliance, and I urge you to participate actively in the webinar. Let us continue to work together to encourage the enduring partnership of business and taxation in the growth of our economy and in the upliftment of our people's quality of life.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Lumagdi, for the warm welcome and kind words. I'm sure you are all excited to learn about our topics today. So without further ado, let's dive into our first topic. Please welcome our first speaker, Ms. Amalia Dacumos from Taxpayer Service Programs and Monitoring Division, who will guide us through the relevant BIR forms.
So first, ano nga ba yung mga non-individual taxpayers? So una po, yung tinatawag po nating corporation. So ano ba ang corporation? A corporation is an artificial being created by operation of law having the right of succession and the powers, attributes, and properties expressly authorized by law or incidental to its existence. Pag sinabi pong corporation, meron po tayo yung tinatawag na kasama po dun yung mga one-person corporation. Yung pong partnerships, joint stock companies, joint accounts associations, o yung mga insurance companies. So there are two types of corporation. Meron po tayong tinatawag na domestic corporation o yung corporation created and organized under the Philippine laws. And then we have foreign corporations o yung mga corporations po na created sa country kung saan po sila kung yung country of origin po nila. So sa foreign corporation po, meron pa rin po tayong tinatawag na resident foreign corporation o yung corporation na as per our tax code po. Ito po yung mga foreign corporations engaged in trade or business in the Philippines. Or non-resident foreign corporations po, ito naman po yung mga corporation na not engaged in trade or business in the Philippines. Katulad po ng mga branch office o yung representative office o yung mga regional headquarters and regional operating headquarters of multinational companies. So another po is yung mga general professional partnership o yung GPP po. Ito po yung mga formed by persons for the sole purpose of exercising their common professions. Then we have joint ventures and or consortium or cooperatives. So ito naman po yung cooperatives naman po. As per RA 9580, ito po yung autonomous and duly registered association of persons with a common band of interest who have voluntarily joined together to achieve their social, economic, and social and cultural needs and aspirations by making equitable contributions to the capital required, patronizing their own products and services, and accepting fair share of risks and benefits of the undertaking in accordance with universally accepted cooperative principles. So, ilan po ito sa tinatawag nating mga non-individual taxpayers? So, ano ba ang mga form or return na gagamitan ng non-individual taxpayers sa pag-file po ng kanilang annual income tax return? First po, we have BIR Form 1702RT, January 2018 version. Ito po yung return for corporations, partnerships, and other non-individual taxpayers subject only sa income tax rate of 25% or 20%. Ang return pong ito ay available po sa EBAR forms at available din po siya sa EFPS. So, sino ba ang users or filers of this return? of this return. So, yung po yung mga kagaya po ng binanggit ko kanina, yung po yung subject sa 25% or sa 20%. Yung pong sa 20% na income tax rate, ito po yung kailangan po para po pwede silang mag-file ng gamitin ang 20% na rate. Ito po yung dapat ay ang corporation po ay may net taxable income na hindi po lalampas sa 5 million. At ang total assets po ay hindi rin po lalampas ng 100 million, excluding po yung land on which the particular business entity's office, plant, and equipment are situated. So, kumbaga, kung gagamitin niyo po yung 20%, meron po siyang condition at dalawa po yun. Kailangan po ma-meet niyo yung dalawang yun para po pwede kayong gumamit ng 20%. So, susunod pong return natin ay yung BIR Form 1702EX na meron din pong January 2018 na version. So, ito naman po yung return na gagamitin ng mga non-individual taxpayers na exempt under the tax code as amended. Na wala pong other taxable income, kundi yung pong subject lang siya sa exempt. So, ito pong return nito ay available na rin po sa EBAR forms and at the same time, available na rin po siya sa EFPS. So, sino naman po yung mga users or filers of this return? So, ito po yung mga non-individual taxpayers na exempt sa income tax or subject sa 0%. So, example po ng mga ganitong non-individual taxpayers na gagamit ng 1702EX ay yung pong mga GPP natin o yung pong company na nag-enjoy po ng income tax holiday na registered po sa PEZA or kaya po sa BOI at sa iba pa pong fiscal incentives na ang subject na ang rate po nila ay 0%. So next return is BIR Form 1702MX. At ang version din po dito ay January 2018. Ito naman po yung gagamitin ng mga non-individual taxpayers na subject sa special rate. Ang form pong ito ay available po sa EBAR forms and at the same time, available na rin po siya sa EFPS. Noon po kasi mga nakaraang annual income tax return filing natin, hindi pa po siya available sa EFPS. Pero ngayon po, available na rin po siya. So yung po mga EFPS filers natin, sa EFPS na po kayo magpa-file ng 1702MX. So, sino po yung users? Katulad po ng binanggit ko kanina, yung po mga taxpayers, non-individual taxpayers na subject po siya special rate na 5% or 2%. Yung 5% po, yung mga BOI, yung PEZA, CHESA, yung mga ganun po, na ang rate lang po ng income tax nila ay 5% po. At yung pong or 2%, ito naman po yung mga microfinance NGOs po. Or yung pong may multiple income tax rates. So, ibig po sabihin na natin ng multiple income tax rate. May business po siya na subject sa 25% or 20%. Meron po siyang business na subject sa special rate na 5%. At meron din siyang business na subject sa 0% or exempt po siya sa income tax. So, kung ganito po yung klase ng businesses nyo, ang gagamitin nyo po ay BIR Form 1702MX. So, ano ang guideline sa pag-file natin ng annual income tax return? Paano ba ipapile ang mga income tax return ng mga non-individual? So, sabi po, ang pag-file po ng annual income tax return natin ay electronically na. Yung po ay, nung inilabas po yung EOPT Act, ang sabi po, ang pag-file po ay electronically na. So, through EBAR forms or EFPS or TSP, whichever is applicable. Ibig po sabihin ng whichever is applicable, kunyari po, EFPS filers kayo or mandated to use EFPS, so ang gagamitin nyo ay EFPS. Tapos EBAR forms po, kung hindi po kayo EFPS filers. At TSP po, pwede rin po, ito po yung mga certified na tax software provider po natin na meron po silang parang certain form lang na pwedeng i-file or napa-certify sa BIR. So kung meron po dun sa kayong yung may service po kayong kinuha doon sa mga TSP po at magpa-file po ng annual income tax return, pwede rin po siya. Pero sabi po, electronically filing na. So, hindi na po ba pwedeng mag-file manually? Pwede po mag-file manually. If po yung electronic platform po natin ay down or unavailable po, at kung yung kunyari po, may bagong return, tapos wala pa po siya sa EFPS or sa EBAR forms. Since wala pa po siya sa electronic platform po ng BIR, so pwede po siya mag-file manually. So yun lang po yung mga parang time or reason na pwede po kayong mag-file manually. So sabi po natin tatlo yung paraan para mag-file ng annual income tax return. So unahin po natin yung EBAR forms. So pag EBAR forms filer o user po kayo, ang gagamitin po ninyo ay offline EBAR forms package B7.9.4.2. Ito po yung latest version natin. Pero kung halimbawa po magkaroon po ulit tayo ng bagong version, dapat po pag magpa-file po tayo sa EBAR forms, lagi po natin gagamitin ay yung pong latest version. So paano ba para magkaroon ka ng offline EBAR forms package? So alam ko po na marami na po sa inyo may alam kung paano po to i-download or paano gamitin. Pero dun po sa mga participants natin na ngayon pa lang po sila gagamit ng EBAR forms. So, kailangan po nating ipakita kung paano po ang gagawin nila para po makapag-download sila ng offline EBAR forms. So, ano ba nga ba ang gagawin ng taxpayer? So, para po ma-download ang EBAR forms, punta po tayo sa BIR website. So, ito na po itsura ng BIR website natin. So, puntahan po natin yung e-services. Pag kinilik po natin yung e-services, ito po ang lalabas. So, i-click lang po natin yung sa EBAR forms. Yung pong blue, yung kulay blue po na Electronic Bureau of Internal Revenue forms. Pag kinilik nyo po yon, ito po ang lalabas. So, paglabas po nito, i-click nyo lang po yung may nakalagay na to download the offline EBAR forms package B7.9.2, yung po may nakalagay na here. Click nyo lang po yon. So, pag kinilik nyo po yon, mada-download nyo na po yung EBAR forms. So, pag na-download nyo na po yung EBAR forms, extract nyo lang po yung file and then i-run nyo po. So, click nyo lang po yung next. And then, make sure po na kapag isi-save nyo po yung EBAR forms ay sa Drive C. Okay. And yung pong pangalan po ay i-change nyo po. Gawin kung hindi po siya naka-default na EBAR forms B7.9.4.2, gawin nyo pong ganun yung file name. Bakit po? Para po hindi po ma-overwrite yung dati yung version ng EBAR forms. So pag may bago po tayong EBAR forms, pag magsisave po kayo, ilagay niyo pong file name ay kung ano po yung version ng EBAR forms para po hindi natatakpan or napapalitan yung version nyo ng EBAR forms. Okay. After po nun, click nyo lang po yung install. Then, click nyo po yung finished. So, na-download nyo na po at load nyo na po yung EBAR forms sa PC nyo or sa laptop. So, hahanapin po natin yung EBAR forms kung saan para po ma-open natin siya. So, puntahan nyo lang po yung Drive C kasi doon po natin siya sinave. And then, click po natin yung EBAR forms B7.9.4.2. Pagka-click po, ang lalabas po ay itong mga subfolder. Susunod po, ang i-click po natin ay yung pong yellow icon na EBAR forms. So, pag kinilik nyo po yan, ang lalabas po ay yung profile. Dito po sa profile, ay i-ask po kayo na mag-create po ng profile nyo. So, ibig sabihin po, lagyan nyo lang po ng laman yung TIN, yung RDO code, yung line of business, yung taxpayer's name, yung registered address, yung pong zip code, yung telephone number, at email address. So take note po yung email address. Ito po ay importante. Kailangan po ang ilalagay nyo po dito ay yung pong active at valid na email address. Kasi dito po i-send ni BIR yung pong confirmation or email confirmation or yung tinatawag naming tax return receipt confirmation na natanggap ni BIR yung pong i-file ninyong return. So kailangan po valid po ito. And then po, click nyo lang po yung fill up at mamimili po kayo kung depende po kung ano yung gagamitin nyo. So, piliin nyo po yung BIR Form 1702 RTV 2018C kung 1702 RT po ang gagamitin nyo or BIR Form 1702 EX V 2018C kung 1702 EX po ang gagamitin nyo or exempt kayo or 1702 MX V 2018C. Kung ito naman po ay kung subject po kayo sa special rate or preferential rate or multiple po yung income tax rate na gagamitin nyo from the list po ng BIR forms. Then, click nyo lang po yung fill up. Then, pagka-click nyo po ng fill up, may lalabas po na pop-up message. Ito po yun. Dito po, kung ito po actually, lalabas lang po ito kung bago lang po kayong maglagay ng TIN sa offline EBIR forms. Pero kung dati na po kayong nakapaglagay ng TIN doon, hindi na po ito mag-a-appear. So kung halimbawa po, since bago lang po tayo, naglagay po tayo ng TIN at saka email address, i-confirm lang po natin. I-ask lang po kayo na ipasok nyo uli yung TIN at saka po yung email address na inilagay mo doon sa profile page. So, ilagay nyo lang po. And then, click nyo po yung submit. And then, pagka-click nyo po sa submit, may lalabas po uling pop-up message. May nakalagay po na background information saved, updated successfully. Then, click nyo lang po yung OK. Pagka-click nyo po ng OK, click nyo lang po uli yung fill up doon sa return. And then, pag kinilik nyo po, may message po uling lalabas. Same po yung kanina. Then, click nyo lang po uli yung OK. Then, lalabas na po kung 1702 RT po yung pinili nyo or 1702 EX po or 1702 MX. So, depende po kung ano po yung pinili nyong return, yun po yung lalabas sa EBIR forms. So, pag lumabas na po yung return, i-accomplish na po natin yung mga applicable fields in the return. Lalo na po yung tax rate at minimum corporate income tax due sa return. Ito po ay mga editable at enterable. Tapos po yung fields po ng tax relief availment, mandatory fields din po yun. Baka po magtataka kayong bakit po yung pong tax rate at saka po yung MCIT due ay editable at saka enterable. Kasi po, kung mapapansin nyo po, nung po kasi lumabas yung create law, nagbago po kasi yung rate nung tax natin. Dati po kasi 'di ba minimum corporate income tax po is dati 2%, tapos nung lumabas po yung sa create, ginawa po siyang 1% for may certain lang po siya, certain period lang po, tapos bumalik din siya sa 2%. Kaya po ginawa pong yung pong fields po ng tax rate ay enterable kasi kung magpapile po kayo ng return na affected po dun sa change po nung rate. So, kailangan i-enter niyo po kung ano po yung tax rate. Tapos, same din po yung sa minimum corporate income tax due. Yung mako-compute po doon na amount, pwede niyo po siyang i-edit at palitan. So, after niyo po ma-accomplish yung return, click niyo po yung validate. Pag meron po kayong nakalimutan or with unfilled item, sasabihin po yun. Sasabihin po nung may pop-up up pong message at sasabihin niya kung ano po yung nakalimutan nyo. So, balikan nyo lang po yun and then lagyan nyo po ng value. Pag may error po, isasabihin din po niya. So, kunyari po, yung sa date, nagkamali po kayo ng format, nilagay nyo ay 1-15-2024, ay dapat po ay 01, parang 01-15-2024. So, balikan nyo lang po, itama nyo lang po. Or kung tama naman na po yung lahat ng fields na yung value dun sa lahat ng fields po sa annual income tax return, ang lalabas po is validation successful. Then, click on edit if you wish to modify your entry. So, kung kahit na-validate nyo na po siya at napansin nyo may mali pala, tingnan nyo po yung return, pwede nyo pa rin po siyang baguhin. I-click nyo lang po yung edit. Okay. Then, after po, halimbawa, nag-change kayo, mag-change kayo, sabi ko nga po, i-click nyo yung edit. Pagkatapos nyo po ma-edit, syempre, i-click nyo uli po yung validate. At tapos ko na-validate na po kasi lahat na po, tama na po yung nakalagay doon sa return at magsasubmit na po kayo sa online po, i-click nyo na po yung submit final copy. So upon clicking po ng submit final copy, marami pong pop-up messages na mag-appear. So una po yung may nakalagay po na yung please ensure that you have internet access and a valid email address is indicated in your tax return. So kung sure naman po tayo na naka-open na yung internet natin, kasi actually po yung EBAR forms, habang nag-fill out po tayo, pwede naman pong kahit wala pa kayong internet kasi offline naman po siya. Tapos kung magsasubmit na lang po kayo, saka nyo na lang po i-open yung inyong internet. So, kagaya po nito, kasi kinilik po natin yung submit final copy button. So, ibig sabihin, magsasubmit na po kayo online. So, dapat po may internet kayo. So, click nyo lang po yung okay. And then, may lalabas po uling pop-up message. Ito naman po yung para sa TOSA o Terms of Service Agreement. Dito po, sabi po dito, thank you for using EBAR forms. By clicking agree, you confirm that you have read, understood, and agreed to the TOSA. So, kailangan po mag-agree kayo doon sa TOSA. At kung gusto nyo naman pong basahin yung TOSA, pwede naman po, i-click nyo lang po yung here na to and then makikita nyo na po yung TOSA. So, kung mag-agree na po tayo, click nyo lang po yung okay. So, upon clicking okay po, lalabas na po, maya-maya po, lalabas na kung nakapag-submit na po kayo successfully. So, pag submit successful na po, ito po yung pop-up message. Nakalagay, submit successful, a notification will be sent to your email. So, yung email po nakalagay dito, ay yung pong email address na ginamit nyo doon or napupunta po sa spam folder. Lalo na po kung yung sa mga company po is strict po yung kanila firewall or ano. So napupunta po sa spam po na folder yung email confirmation ng BIR. So nakalagay pa po dito, print or save the email as evidence of e-filed return. Tapos may nakanote po na there will be some delays on email sending of confirmation. Please bear with us. Sometimes po kasi nadidelay po yung pagpadala po ng email confirmation, lalo na po kapag ka-deadline. Kasi kung deadline po, sabay-sabay po nagpapile yung mga taxpayer. So, yung pong email confirmation ay natatagalan po kasi nga po medyo siguro nabulunan yung system natin dahil po marami po yung nag-file. Voluminous po. Okay? So, para po hindi po ganun ang mangyari, mag-file po sana tayo na early. Then, click nyo lang po yung okay. Upon clicking okay po, ayan po, makaka-receive na po ang taxpayer ng system-generated email confirmation o yung tinatawag nga natin pong tax return receipt confirmation. Ang sinasabi po na na-receive na BIR yung submitted return po. And magbabayad na po tayo. Kung may babayaran. Kung wala naman po, okay na po yung sinabit natin online. So kung magbabayad po tayo, pwede po tayo magbayad sa any AABs or to the RCOs of any RDO or through online via the e-pay facility of the BIR. Hindi ko po i-discuss ng detail po itong payment kasi po yung susunod pong speakers, siya po yung magdi-discuss ng tungkol po sa payment. Okay. So, tapos na po tayo sa EBAR forms filers. So, sa EFPS naman po tayo. So, yung po mga EFPS filers of users naman ng BAR Form 1702 RT, EX, and MX shall use the EFPS and filing their annual income tax return. Kasi nga, tulad po nung binanggit ko kanina, yung pong 17, yung lahat po ng annual income tax returns natin para sa mga non-individual taxpayers ay nasa EFPS na po. So, sa EFPS po sila magpa-file. And at the same time, since electronic filing and payment po ang EFPS, so kung doon po kayo nag-file, doon din po kayo magpipay. At ang gagamitin niyo po, yung syempre po yung EFPS AAB kung saan po kayo naka-enroll. And then, doon naman po sa mga ATSP users filers, syempre po, ang gagamitin nyo, yung pong service provided ng ang ATSP po, o ng tax service providers po. So, reminders po doon sa mga EBAR forms filers or users. Take note po yung mga pangalan po ng EBAR forms na i-click ninyo. Kasi para po masigurado natin na ang gagamitin nyo sa pag-file ay yung pong latest version ng BIR form. So, kung 1702RT po ang ipa-file nyo, ang gamitin nyo po ay yung 1702RT-B 2018C. Kung 1702EX naman po, yung pong 1702EX V 2018C. At kung 1702MX po, 1702MX B 2018C. That's all po. End na po ng presentation ko. So sana po nakinig po tayong mabuti para po naintindihan natin o alam natin kung ano yung gagamitin nating BIR form sa pag-file po ng annual income tax return. Thank you po.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Amy, for that very detailed and well-organized presentation. I hope you all have taken note of the key takeaways shared by Ma'am Amy. However, if you do have questions, feel free to drop them on comment on Facebook or send a message in the Zoom chat box. We will now proceed with the presentation on tax payment, which will be discussed by our second speaker, the Assistant Chief of Collection Programs Division, Ms. Maria Linda Bautista.
So, as discussed a while ago by Ms. Amy, so yung pong mga mandated to file ng returns at naka-enroll po sa EFPS, so Electronic Filing and Payment System po ang gagamitin. And then the EBAR forms, na-discuss din po yan Ms. Amy. And for certain returns sa ating po mga tax software provider. So, to discuss a little po yung sa EFPS, So, ito po yung system developed by and maintained by BIR, kung paano po mag-file at saka magbayad ng taxes using the internet. Ito po yung EFPS. And then, sino-sino po ba yung mga mandated na gumamit na EFPS? So, sa screen po niya, nakalist po yung mga mandated po gumamit na EFPS. So, ito po yung mga taxpayer under Taxpayer Account Management Program or TAM, accredited importer and prospective importer, national government agencies, yung mga remittances po nila, government offices, insofar as remittance of withheld VAT and business tax is concerned, all licensed local contractors, enterprises enjoying fiscal incentives to pay mga PESA, BOI, various zone authorities, and then taxpayers mandated to use the web-based EDST system, top withholding agents, ito po yung mga top 5,000 individual taxpayers and top 20 private corporations. Corporations with paid-up capital stock of 10 million and above. Corporations with complete computerized accounting system. Government bidders, insurance companies, stockbrokers, and our large taxpayers. So sila po yung mga mandated gumamit po ng EFPS. So, ang filing po at pagbabayad ng taxes through EFPS. So, yung po namang hindi po mandated gumamit ng EFPS. So, ang manner of filing is through EBIR forms. So, ito po developed by BIR din. Pwede po kayong mag-prepare at mag-file ng return using the system. Kanina po naturo na po ni Ms. Amy kung paano po tayo magpa-file through the EBIR forms at paano po yung mag-download ng package. So ito po yung sinasabi din kanina, yung pwede rin po tayo mag-file ng returns via tax software provider. Ito po yung certified TSPs natin. Pwede pong individuals or organization offering tax services to third-party solutions and tax preparation software that will generate required tax returns. Lahat po ng pinafile nating returns sa TSP o tax software provider, lahat po ito pumapasok din po sa ABIR form system. So, sino-sino po ba yung sa ngayon na certified na ni BIR? Sa ngayon po, ito po yung mga forms na ino-offer nila for income tax. Si Anand Tax, meron po siyang 1701A. Si Tax Swiss, 1701A. The rest po yung mga other forms na pwede nyo pong i-avail yung services ng ating mga TSP. So, sa screen po, makita nyo. Other TSPs po, si eTax Point Bookkeeping Edition, si MPM Accounting Software, si Taxumo. So, si Taxumo po, meron din po silang ino-offer ng mga income tax returns, yung 1700, 1701, 1701A. So, yan po yung mga list ng ating mga TSPs, si OneTax, si Wyvern, Onet naman po yung particular po nila na ino-offer na solution, and si Yashua Tax Online, karamihan po yung mga monthly returns. Si OneTax po yan, marami po sila ino-offer na for income tax form, 1701A, 1701, 1702RT, 1702EX, 1702MX, and 1700. So kung gusto niyo pong i-avail ng kanilang services or solution, pwede naman po. So, submission of attachments to file tax returns, later po, i-discuss po yan ng ating susunod na speaker. So, kung gusto niyo pong makita itong nasa screen na annex po ito dun sa ating RMC number 87-2024. So, ano po ba yung mga pinafile natin sa EAFS at ano po yung pwede natin isubmit sa e-submission facilities as attachments to ating e-filed return. So, next naman po is the manner and modes of e-payment of taxes. So, meron po tayong pwedeng electronic, pwedeng manual, at saka i-discuss din po natin yung mga modes of payments of taxes. So, syempre po kanina, na-discuss na rin po ito. Kung mandated ka po sa EFPS, filing and payment is through EFPS. For payment of taxes through EFPS, taxpayer shall enroll or open an account through any EFPS authorized agent bank. Taxpayers mandated to use EFPS but not yet enrolled in EFPS CAB shall pay the corresponding taxes manually through any AAB or RCO assigned the district offices, municipality, or through applicable e-pay gateways. Sa next screen po na nakikita, yun sa screen po, makikita nyo po yung list of authorized agent banks. Doon po sa mga hindi pa naka-enroll or kung may account po kayo sa any EFPS CAB, let's say may account po kayo sa Bank of Commerce at gusto nyo pong i-avail yung EFPS ni BIR, pwede nyo pong i-enroll yung account nyo sa EFPS. So, punta lang po kayo sa any branches ng mga bangko na to, i-enroll nyo lang po yung account. And we encourage po na hindi lang isa, kung pwede yung dalawa, tatlo, na ma-enroll nyo po. Kung may mga account po kayo sa any banks na sa screen, pwede nyo pong i-enroll para in case po na medyo nagka-problema po yung isang bangko nyo, pwede po kayong lumipat sa other bank para makabayad po kayo o makaproceed sa payment. So, encourage lang po namin now to open another or enroll your other account for EFPS. So, for e-pay gateways, ito naman po yung other, parang ano din po siya EFPS, pero hindi po siya diretso na makakaproceed po kayo sa e-pay. After filing, pwede po kayong mamili kung saan po yung applicable na payment gateway. So ito po pwede yung credit card, debit card, or prepaid cards, at saka mga electronic wallets na pwede nyo pong gamitin as source of fund or modes of payment. So ano-ano po ba yung mga available natin na e-payment gateways? Meron po si Landbank, yung tawag po nila is LinkBiz Portal. Ito po kung meron kayong account, ATM account, specifically sa Landbank, or kung may account po kayo sa RCBC, Robinsons Bank, Union Bank, BPI, Asia United Bank, NPS Bank, pwede nyo pong ma-avail ang LinkBiz Portal sa pagbabayad po ng mga tax liabilities. And then, Union Bank of the Philippines Online or the Portal Payment Facilities. Kung meron po kayong account with Union Bank, pwede nyo po itong ma-avail. Pero kung wala naman po kayong account kay Union Bank, for individual, non-Union Bank account holders, pwede rin pong ma-avail yung UPay via InstaPay facility nila para po makabayad din po kayo. And then we have Development Bank of the Philippines PayTax Online using credit card, BankNet, ATM, debit card. For tax software providers, available po is the MYAG. Pwede po dito yung GCash, Maya, GrabPay, or ShopeePay kung may laman po yung mga e-wallets nyo. And then, pwede nyo rin po i-download yung Maya application para po, diretso na din po kayo makabayad. So, for MYAG at saka Maya, ang settlement bank po nila is DBP. So, sila po yung nagre-remit sa atin ng mga taxes na binabayaran ninyo. So, sa ngayon po, hindi pa po naka-up yung GCash application. Pero in case po na gusto nyo gamitin yung GCash nyo sa pagbabayad, pwede nyo naman pong i-avail si MYAG. And then yung source of mode of payment nyo po is GCash. Reminder lang po, taxpayers shall bear any convenience fee that may be charged by banks and or mobile companies for using their online payment facilities. Kesa naman po mamasahe kayo, pwede naman pong i-avail yung kanilang services. Paano nyo naman po maa-access yung mga e-pay gateways natin? So kanina po, pinakita ni Ms. Amy sa website natin. Pero this time naman po yung sa e-services din. And then, ikiklik lang po yung e-pay. Kanina yung tinuro niya po sa EFPS at EBIR forms. Dito naman po sa e-pay. And then, ito po, kung ano po yung applicable o pwede nyong gamitin sa pagbabayad, isi-select niya lang po. And then, kung nag-file na po kayo sa EBIR forms, so may option din po na mag-manual payment. So, pwede po sa pinakamalapit na authorized agent banks, wala pong limit as to the cash or check payment. Pwede rin po sa mga revenue collection officers. Mayroon lang po tayong RCOs po natin can accept cash payment up to 20,000 lang po. So, pero sa check payment naman po, wala pong limit as to the amount. So, kung halimbawa po magbabayad kayo manually, ipiprint nyo lang po yung e-filed return at saka po yung mga corresponding yung kung sa EFPS po kayo, just in case na hindi kayo nakaproceed ng pagbabayad. So, i-print nyo lang po together with the filing reference number or tax returns receipt confirmation pag sa EBIR forms. Para po yun yung ipapresent nyo sa mga bangko or sa RCOs pag magbabayad na po kayo. So, for manual payment, ano po ba yung mga modes of payment? So, syempre po yung pwedeng cash, check, or back debit advice. Kung may account po kayo do sa particular bangko saan kayo magbabayad, pwede nyo naman pong bank debit advice or memo. Ipapabawas lang po do sa account ninyo. So, combination of payments, pwede naman po ito. Mostly pag sa mga non-government agencies po, tax debit memo po ang yung iba na mode of payment po nila. Pwede pong kombinasyon, let's say yung tax debit memo, kung sino man po yung naka-experience na magbayad. Pwede rin pong kung kulang yung tax debit memo, dagdagan po ng cash. Or mamimili lang po kayo kung kulang yung tax debit memo na pambayad nyo or yung TRA, yung SARO, ito po sa mga agents, government agencies to it. Pwede any combination po, pwedeng cash, tax debit memo, pwedeng check or tax debit memo, or back debit advice plus tax debit memo. So mamimili lang po kayo ng isa para sa kakombinasyon ng non-cash payment. Ito, marami naman pong nagtatanong, paano naman po yung pag-accomplish ng cheque? So sa screen nyo po, makikita nyo, ito po yung regular check. Usually, pag may account po tayo sa isang bangko, nakalagay na po yung pangalan. Minsan po nakalagay din yung PIN ng account holder. So kung nandyan po yan, regular check po yan. So sa pay to the order of space, so ilalagay nyo lang po yung pangalan ng branch kung saan po tayo magbabayad. And then FAO or for the account of Bureau of Internal Revenue, the amount. Siyempre po yung signature, dito wag pong kalimutan, tsaka yung date. So yan po yung regular na pag-accomplish ng cheque. Pero in case po na walang nakalagay na account name or TIN dun sa cheque na gagamitin po sa pangbayad, pwede naman pong isulat or i-require po ito na ating mga bangko o yung teller na isulat po doon sa likod ng cheque yung pong pangalan at saka TIN nung nagbabayad, yung nakalagay po doon sa return natin. So isusulat lang po kung wala pong nakalagay na account name or taxpayer name doon sa cheque. Ito naman po, paano naman po pag sa manager's check? Kunyari, may account po kayo sa isang bangko. Ngayon, magpapagawa po kayo ng cheque. So, pareho lang din po. Ilalagay din po yung pangalan ng branch, kung saan po kayo magbabayad, FAO, Bureau of Internal Revenue. Pero this time, ipapalagay nyo naman po yung pangalan nyo or pangalan ng taxpayer, tsaka yung TIN. So, pareho lang din po yung kanya. Pero in case po na hindi nasabi or nakalimutan po ninyo or ng agent nyo or representative, hindi na isulat yung pangalan nyo or yung pangalan ng branch kung saan kayo magbabayad, pwede rin naman po isusulat po ito doon sa likod. Yung pangalan ng taxpayer, tsaka TIN, pwede rin naman po isulat, tsaka yung branch. Just in case po na hindi na ilagay kung nagpagawa po kayo ng manager's checks or cashier's check. So ano po ba yung mga acceptable checks? So yung accommodation check, second endorse, post-dated, stale, at saka unsigned checks. So tanong lang po, if the receiving AAB system is offline or unavailable, can taxpayer transfer to another AAB branch even if the name of the receiving branch is already indicated on the check for payment of taxes? Pwede po. Taxpayer may transfer to another AAB branch provided that the branch is the same AAB. Kunyari po, ang nilagay ninyo dun sa cheque is East Avenue, Land Bank East Avenue. Nagkataon po na offline. So, pwede po kayong lumipat na ibang land bank para doon po kayo magbayad. So, tatanggapin lang po. And then, isusulat lang po doon sa likod ng cheque yung name of receiving branch. So, actually receive the payment. At saka po yung pangalan. Kung nakalagay naman na po, okay lang po. Basta kung sino lang po yung name of branch na nag-receive po no payment or yung check payment. So, para later po, wala na tayo, kung maghahulman po tayo sa oras, ako na lang po yung magtatanong sa inyo. So, ito po, nakalagay naman po ito doon sa RMC 87-2024. So, our existing revenue issuances mandating certain taxpayer to use the EFPS in the filing of tax returns, payment of taxes due there are repealed by Section 3 of of RR number for 2024? Sagot po dyan, no. So yung pong ang sinasabi lang po dito, kung mandated po mag-EFPS, diretso pa rin po or EFPS ang filing at saka payment. Except lang po kung hindi nga po available pa yung form sa EFPS, EBAR forms naman po yung gagamitin natin. So question number 2 sa RMC 87, 2024. What are the instances in which the taxpayer who are mandated to file the tax returns electronically will be allowed to file their returns manually? Ito nasabi naman na po to ni Ms. Amy kanina. So, taxpayers who are mandated to file the tax returns electronically shall be allowed to file their returns manually when there is an advisory on the unavailability of the system, when the tax returns form is not yet available in any of the electronic filing platforms, or when there is justifiable reason as may be determined by the Commissioner of the BIR. So question number 3 po. In case there is an advisory that the electronic filing payment platforms are unavailable, are taxpayers mandated to use the same allowed to manually file their tax returns and pay the taxes due anywhere? Yes po. So yan po, allowed naman po mag-manual, just kung down po both yung EFPS at EBIR forms, nagka-problema po. So file and pay manually sa pinakamalapit pong AAB or Revenue Collection Officer natin. So reminder lang din po, pag sa RCO po tayo magbayad, allowed lang po sila up to 20,000 for cash payment. If not yet, ito, question 10. If not yet enrolled in EFPS, how can mandated taxpayer file returns and pay their taxes? So kanina po, ang filing po sa EBIR forms and yung payment po, yung kanina pong na-discuss through any e-payment gateway or sa pinakamalapit po, RCO or AAB, magbabayad manually. Or question number 4 po sa RMC number 87, 2024. Considering that the tax return filing is required to be done electronically, how can the attachments to the tax returns be submitted, if any? So yan po, attachments shall likewise be submitted electronically using the EAFS or e-submission. So kung ano po yung applicable. Kanina po dun sa meron tayong matrix kung ano mga isasabit. So yan po ang submission, EAFS or e-submission. So after ko po, meron pong magdi-discuss ng detailed kung paano po tayo magpapal sa EAFS. So abangan lang po. Yan na po yung susunod natin na speaker. Once again, salamat po at sana po may natutunan tayo at na-remind tayo sa ating mga ways or manners of filing of taxes. Magandang hapon po at maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig.
Thank you for sharing with us your enlightening presentation, Ma'am Linda. And to our Zoom participants and Facebook viewers, please be informed that we are live po on Facebook and you can watch this webinar via replay sa official Facebook page po ni BIR, which is the Bureau of Internal Revenue Philippines. Also po, you can rewatch the previous webinar regarding AITR filing and payment for self-employed individuals and professional and for employees earning purely compensation and mixed income earners sa Facebook page din po ni BIR. And again, if may questions po kayo via Zoom, mag-chat lang po tayo sa chat box and sa ating Facebook viewers, mag-drop lang po tayo ng comment. Now, for the last set of discussion, we will now call on our speaker for the submission of required attachments. From Revenue District Office number 29, Tondo, San Nicolas, Mr. Amel Joseph Argondayo.
So again, good afternoon. I'm Group Supervisor AJ Gundayo from RDO 29, Tondo, San Nicolas, and I'll be discussing with you the submission of financial statements and other attachments to the annual income tax return. Pero bago tayo magumpisa, sino nga ba ang required na magpasa ng kanilang duly filed AITR with attachments to the BIR? So kung ikaw ay isang taxpayer na nag-electronically filed either through EFPS or EBR forms without any required attachments, hindi mo na kailangan magpasa ng iyong e-file tax return sa BIR. Yung natanggap mo, as discussed by Ma'am Amy earlier, yung natanggap mo na email confirmation sa EBR forms or the filing reference number that you receive via the EFPS shall serve as proof of your filing, and that's it. Tapos ka na kung wala kang required attachments. Conversely, if you are a taxpayer with any of the following, you are required to submit your duly filed, electronically filed AITR to the BIR, together with the ITR itself and proof of filing and payment of tax due, if any, ito mga sumusunod. So kung ikaw ay merong complete set of financial statements, which includes CPA certificate if your gross annual sales, earnings, receipts, or output exceeds 3 million. The account information form or the financial statements themselves, including the prescribed schedules. Tapos kung ang iyong ipapasa naman is audited financial statements, meaning your gross annual sales, earnings, receipts, or output exceeds 3 million, audited financial statements ang ipapasa mo, so dapat comparative ang financial statements na iyong ipepresent. Kailangan meron ding statement of management responsibility for the annual income tax return. Take note po that RMC 40/2022 allows for the electronic signature, for the use of electronic signature on all documents and returns to be filed, including the AITR. Required attachment din, so required ka ding magpasa sa BIR kung ikaw ay merong BIR Form 1709 or Information Return on Transactions with Related Parties. So sino ba ang dapat magpasa nitong mga to? Kung ikaw ay considered as large taxpayer, you need to submit Form 1709. Kung ikaw ay isang taxpayer who enjoys tax incentives such as being BOI registered, an Ecozone enterprise, or enjoying income tax holiday or preferential income tax rate, you must also submit Form 1709. You're also required to submit Form 1709 if for the current year, you are reporting net operating losses as well as for the preceding 2 years. So 3 taong sunod-sunod na net operating losses ka, you are required to submit BIR Form 1709. Now, aside from these 3, required ka ding magpasa ng Form 1709 or Information Return on Transactions with Related Parties kung ikaw ay related party nung unang 3. Related party ka ng large taxpayer, ng taxpayer enjoying tax incentives, or taxpayer reporting net losses for the current year or and the preceding 2 years. Now, ang definition ng related party is presented in Section 3 of RR 19/2020. Kailangan ka rin magpasa ng iyong AITR with attachments to the BIR kung ikaw ay nakiklaim ng tax credits. This include those who are claiming tax credits using Form 2307 or the creditable tax with certificate of creditable tax withheld at source, BIR Form 2306 or the certificate of final tax withheld at source, BIR Form 2316. So these are for compensation income earners. So ito yung certificate of compensation payment and tax withheld. BIR Form 1606 or withholding tax remittance return on sale of real property. So these are for taxpayers engaged in the sale of real property, ordinary na considered as ordinary asset. Kung ikaw ay nakiklaim ng foreign tax credits or any other tax credits that you are claiming. Kung nakiklaim ka ng tax credits, i-attach mo yon as proof ng tax credit na kinaklaim mo sa iyong ITR, and therefore you need to submit the AITR and the attachments to the BIR. So, required din magpasa yung mga merong other attachments. Ano ba yung mga example ng mga other attachments? This includes BIR Form 2304. So, these are for payments not subjected to withholding tax. If you are a taxpayer that is exempted from income taxes, let's say, for example, you're a Bambi taxpayer, you're exempted from income taxes, RR 11/2018 specifically mentions that if the taxpayer is exempt from income tax, you are likewise exempted from withholding taxes. That being said, yung mga clients mo, yung mga customer mo, hindi sila magwi-withhold sa'yo. So ano ang ipopresent nila as proof na hindi sila nag-withhold kasi nga exempted ka from income tax? BIR Form 2304 ang i-issue nila sa'yo. Kailangan din i-attach kung meron kang tax debit memo na kiniklaim, kung meron kang prior year success credits as presented in your ITR. Kung ang ipapasa mo is amended return, kailangan isa-attach mo rin yung original return para maipakita kung ano yung inamend mo. At the same time, lalo na kung merong magki-claim ka ng payment made from previous payment made from an original return. Kailangan mo rin magpasa ng proof of e-submission ng iyong SAUT. These are for the tax credit that you claim. So let's be clear. When you're claiming tax credit, either 2307 or 2306 for income tax purposes, claiming tax credits requires that you e-sub this, you submit this through the e-submission, you submit an alpha list through the e-submission. Ito yung tinatawag po nating SAUT. Yung proof ng SAUT na ginawa mo, e-submission ng SAUT, may matatanggap kang email. Yung email na yon, i-attach mo sa iyong ITR. Nag-alpha list ka, ini-sub mo, meron kang matatanggap na email. Yung email na natanggap mo, i-attach mo yon sa ITR. Proof na nag-e-sub ka na. Pero, kailangan mo pa rin magpasa ng iyong mga 2307. Yun yung nakakalimutan ng iba. Akala nila, pag nag-e-sub ka na, hindi mo na kailangang ipasa yung 2307 or 2306 na kiniklaim mo. Now, others, kung meron ka pang ibang dokumento na feel mo makakapag-express correctly ng iyong tamang income tax yun na dapat bayaran, i-attach mo rin sa iyong annual AITR. Kung meron ka anong mga na-discuss natin, you need to submit your AITR, duly filed, electronically filed AITR, and the attachments to the BIR. Now, bago ko iwanan yung tax credit, reminder lamang po sa provision ng RR 16/2021 as clarified by RMC 117/2021. This provides that in lieu of the submission of hard copies of Form 2307 as an attachment to SAUT for claiming of tax credits, as well as Form 2316, 2304, and 2306, only electronic submissions via DVD, USB, or online via the EAFS will be allowed. So, anong ibig sabihin nito? Hindi na po kami tatanggap ng hard copy ng 2307, 2316, 2304, or 2306 as attachments to your AITR. Soft copy po dapat ito. At paano natin ipapasa ito? It's either nakastore siya sa DVD or USB or through online via the EAFS. In RR 16/2021, naka-mention doon yung mga issuances na tinamaan because submission via DVD or USB have their own naming conventions which are provided for by the relevant regulations, standards and regulation yung mga naming convention, and at the same time, si EAFS may sariling naming convention din. So kung kayo ay magpapasa, for example, via DVD or USB ng inyong 2307, ang requirement sa relevant regulations noon is that for each 2307, isa-save mo yon as one PDF file using the naming convention mentioned in the relevant regulations, and then i-store mo siya sa DVD or USB. So if you have 100 2307s, pag binuksan yung CD, DVD, or USB, meron dapat 100 files na nakastore doon. But if you will be submitting via the EAFS has a separate naming convention and a different file format requirement. In the EAFS, one long file lang ang 2307s. One long file siya kasi it falls under tax credits, which we'll discuss in detail later. So yung 100 na 2307 mo, pag pinasa mo via the EAFS, isang malaking PDF file lamang yon. Okay? Now, aside from the 2307, tinamaan din dito yung 2316 na nag-fall ang deadline nung Friday. So, hoping lahat tayo nakapagpasa na. But just the same, Ang pinapasa po natin doon, di ba, is Annex F and Annex C and the 2307, the DVD-R, USB, or via EAFS. If you submitted it via the in person sa BIR, sa RDO nakakasakop sa inyo, dapat ang pinasa ninyo 2307, the DVD-R and USB, the Annex C, the sworn statement, and the Annex F, the schedule of employees qualified or substituted filing. Yun lang ang requirement. Walang alpha list, walang 1604C, walang TRRC, walang proof ng ESUB. Okay? We have an RMC which clearly specified that the only requirement for submission of 2316 for employees qualified for substituted filing shall be the Annex C, sworn statement, Annex F, the schedule, and the DVD-R and USB containing the scanned copies of the 2316. Now, for EAFS submission, same din ang requirement. Yung Annex C, Annex F, scanned copy nun, and then the 2316 ng mga employees qualified for substituted filing. So I hope that clears that up. Pag kasi ang ginawa po natin, hard copy pa rin ang ipapasa natin. Ipipilit natin, ang ipapasa natin is hard copy ng 2307, 2316, 2304, or 2306 as an attachment to the AITR for purposes of claiming tax credits. Baka matanggihan na tayo kasi malinaw sa regulation, soft copy na lang po ang tatanggapin ni BIR. Now, itong requirement na to, nag-a-apply lang hindi lang sa annual AITR. Tulad nga in example ko, kahit nga sa 2316 nag-a-apply ito. Kasi ang nasa regulation po natin sa 16/2021, it applies to all tax returns with attachments. So kung ikaw ay magpa-file ng 1702Q or 1701Q, so your quarterly ITR, so meron kang attachments or you're claiming tax credit for this, yung tax credit sa 1702Q, 1701Q, ipapasa mo sa EAFS or DVD-USB. Kung ikaw naman ay magpo-file ng Form 2550Q or 2551Q, so quarterly VAT and quarterly PT, so meron kang 2306 creditable withholding VAT or creditable withholding percentage tax, so either 2306 or 2307, yung attachment na yon na iyong quarterly VAT and quarterly PT, pwede mong ipasa either DVD-R, USB, or EAFS. Kung ikaw ay nagpa-file ng Form 2553 or PT under special laws, yung attachment nito, pwede mo ring i-attach using the EAFS or DVD-USB. So, clear tayo doon, ha? So, balik tayo sa ating main topic. So, kailan ba ang deadline ng pagpasa ng AITR with attachments? Let's differentiate. We are talking about the submission of the duly filed AITR with attachments. Hindi yung pagpa-file ng AITR. Yung pagpa-file ng AITR using either EBR forms or EFPS, as discussed by Ma'am Amy kanina, April 15 ang deadline nun. After mong i-file yun electronically using EBR forms or EFPS, since the EOPT requires that all returns must be filed electronically na ngayon, after mong i-file yun electronically, ipapasa mo yung attachments ngayon sa BIR. So, kailan ba ang deadline? Now, the deadline of submission for duly filed AITR with attachments for taxpayers who filed electronically, either EFPS or EBR forms, regardless if with or without tax due, is 15 days after the deadline for filing of the ITR or date of actual filing, whichever comes later. So, ang deadline is hindi April 15, yung pagpasa ng AITR with FS, ha? Filing ng return, April 15. But the submission of the duly filed AITR with attachments to the BIR shall be 15 days after the deadline or the date of actual filing, whichever comes later. So, gawa tayo na example. So, example number 1. The deadline for the filing is April 15. Nag-file si taxpayer April 4. Kailan ang deadline ng pagpapasa ng kanyang AITR with attachment sa BIR? The deadline shall be April 30. So that's 15 days from April 15. Example number 2. Deadline is April 15. Ang date of actual filing niya is April 17. So kailan ipapasa yung AITR with attachments? May 2. Kasi 15 days from April 17. Now, linawin natin na, syempre, yung sa example number 2, actual filing niya is April 17, beyond the deadline. So may penalty na siya for late filing of the income tax return. But as far as the submission of the AITR with attachments are concerned, pag nagpasa siya hanggang May 2, wala siyang penalty kasi dun pa lang magbibilang yung 15 days from the date of actual filing. Okay? Now, kung lumagpas siya ngayon, sa illustration number 2, lumagpas siya ng May 2, so nag-May 3 siya, nagpasa, dun pa lang siya mape-penalty kasi dun pa lang makakount yung beyond 15 days. Pag late siya nagpasa, beyond 15 days, the penalty that will be imposed is 1,000 for failure to submit the required reports on time, okay, para dun sa kanyang financial statements and other attachments. So, paano ba pinapasa ang financial statements and other attachments to the AITR? So again, good afternoon. I'm Group Supervisor AJ Gundaya from RDO 29, Tondo San Nicolas, and I'll be discussing with you the submission of financial statements and other attachments to the annual income tax return. Pero bago tayo magumpisa, sino nga ba ang required na magpasa ng kanilang duly filed AITR with attachments to the BIR? So kung ikaw ay isang taxpayer na hindi na nag-electronically filed either through EFPS or EBIR forms, RMC 87/2024 provides that the attachments electronically filed returns shall likewise be submitted electronically using the EAFS or e-submission facility, whichever is applicable, regardless if with or without tax due and regardless if paid through RCOs and AABs or through EFPS. So, anong ibig sabihin nito? If we read clearly yung provision ng RMC 87/2024, it would appear now that since the submission of your attachments shall be electronic, through electronic medium only using the EAFS, hindi na po pwede yung magpa-file ka ng ITR mo electronically, tapos pag nagbayad ka sa bangko, i-attach mo rin siya, yung FS mo sa ITR mo. Kasi pag ginawa mo yon, hard copy yung pinapasa mo. Eh di ba, ang usapan niya po natin, RMC 87/2024 provides that the attachments shall be submitted electronically using the EAFS or e-submission facility. So kahit may tax payable ka, pag nagbayad ka over the counter, what you're going to bring to the bank is the ITR and the proof of the email confirmation, the proof of e-filing, and that's it. Proceed with payment of the tax due, and then use your EAFS account now to submit your attachment. So sabi ko nga, only in cases of system unavailability can the attachments be submitted manually to the RDO having jurisdiction over the taxpayer. So ano ang katunayan na nakapagpasa ka ng iyong AITR sa BIR? So for electronic submissions, the system-generated transaction reference number sent to the enrolled email shall serve as proof of submission by the taxpayer. Now, in case of system unavailability, kapag nag-advisory si BIR na down si EAFS or si e-submission, or unless maglabas ng subsequent issuances allowing for manual submission of attachments again, okay? Ang i-receive ni BIR, again, in case of system unavailability, ang tatatakan lang ni BIR is yung AITR for manual filers. However, wala na yan kasi wala nang manual filer, di ba? So, print out ng FRN and email confirmation, yun ang tatatakan. Again, print out ng FRN or email confirmation. Yun ang tatatakan ng receive in case of system unavailability. Hindi tatatakan yung ITR mismo kasi pinasa mo na yan sa BIR nung nag-electronic file ka. So, hindi na namin kailangan i-receive yun kasi may receiving na kami. Ang proof nun is yung FRN or email confirmation. Ang tatatakan namin is yung FRN, print out ng FRN or email confirmation kasi ito yung dala mo para ipasa din yung attachment sa iyong ITR. Now, dun sa attachment mismo sa iyong ITR, ang tatatakan namin is the balance sheet, the income statement, and the audit certificate. Yan lang ang tatatakan po namin. Wala na kami ibang tatatakan. Ano yung tatatakan lang namin? Again in case of system unavailability, so pag hindi available si EAFS, or if there's a subsequent issuance which is that may be released which says that okay, payagan muna natin uli yung hard copy. Okay? Ang tatatakan lang namin is the FRN or email confirmation, the balance sheet, the income statement, and the audit certificate. So, pwedeng tatlong set ang inyong ipapasa kung hard copy, 2 para sa BIR, 1 receiving copy ninyo. Tapos kung non-individual taxpayers, tulad po ninyo, partnerships and corporations, plus 2 additional sets. But this is, again, I cannot stress this enough, this is only in case of system unavailability. If you submit using the EAFS, the email confirmation that you will receive using the EAFS, that will serve as proof of submission of all the documents that you submitted using that system. So ano nga ba si EAFS? Kung hindi pa kayo familiar, lalo na ngayon kasi before it's an optional method, but right now parang required na siya. Actually, required na siya, hindi parang. Required na siya. The EAFS is the electronic portal for the submission of duly filed AITR and its attachments. Submissions made via the EAFS is just like making it in person. So, sino ba ang pwedeng gumamit ng EAFS? So, as defined in RMC 49/2020 and as required by RMC 87/2024, taxpayers who are required to electronically file their tax returns, including their AITR, shall submit their AITR with attachments through the EAFS. These includes taxpayers claiming tax credits, taxpayers not required to have their financial statements audited pero kailangan may FS pa din sila ipasa, taxpayers who are mixed income earners, among others. Basta meron ka nung attachments na discuss natin kanina, required mong ipasa yun sa BIR, and you are required to use the EAFS as their manner of submission. Now, RMC 82/2020 expands the definition of taxpayers who can use the EAFS to now include not just taxpayers using the calendar year method, but for taxpayers using the fiscal year as well. This is especially applicable for you, our partnership and corporation taxpayers, our non-individual taxpayers, since you are the ones allowed to use fiscal year accounting periods. So pwede nyo gamitin si EAFS even if your accounting period is a fiscal year. And then as we discussed earlier kanina, pwede na rin natin gamitin si EAFS para sa submission ng quarterly ITR attachments. So paano ba natin i-access si EAFS? So the EAFS can be accessed by clicking the EAFS icon at the BIR website at www.bir.gov.ph. So the EAFS can be accessed through any browser of any device with reasonable specifications. You can use a desktop, smartphone, or tablet. This system is what we call a platform agnostic system, which means kahit saan pwede mo siyang i-access. Pwedeng PC, pwedeng Mac, pwedeng Windows, pwedeng macOS, pwedeng iOS, pwedeng Android. As long as the device has, number 1, access to a browser, number 2, a stable internet connection, and number 3, has access to the local files that you will upload to the EAFS, you can use the EAFS. Okay? So, paano ba gamitin si EAFS? So, for first-time users, pag click nyo yung EAFS icon, dadaling ka niya sa EAFS landing page, enrollment page, login page, and then kailangan mo munang mag-enroll. So, ang gagawin mo, click mo yung not registered, and then dadaling ka niya sa fields wherein you will provide all the required information. Kailangan filled out lahat ito. Okay? So, isa-isahin niya natin ang mga required. So, palatandaan lang, reminder lang sa mga dapat gawin. Any taxpayer identification number can be enrolled as a company TIN only once. However, any TIN can be enrolled multiple times as an authorized representative's TIN. The system validates a TIN, so only valid TINs can be used during the enrollment. Again, a company's TIN can only be used once. Pag na-enroll nyo na yung TIN, hindi na kayo pwedeng gumawa ulit ng ibang enrollment. Pero kung kayo ay nag-engage ng services ng tax agent or representative, pwedeng ulit-ulitin yung TIN nila. Anyway, representative lang naman sila. Also, any particular email address can be used only once, either as a company email address or as a representative's email address. So the EAFS is TIN and email based. So yung company TIN, isang beses lang pwedeng gamitin kasi pag na-flag na siya sa system, hindi na siya ulit pwedeng i-enroll. For email addresses naman, ganun din. Any particular email address can only be enrolled once. So kapag nilagay mo na siya as company email, hindi na siya pwedeng gamitin as company email ng ibang company. Or kung si tax agent or si representative ang gagawa ng EAFS account ninyo, may mga nakita akong participants natin dito from audit firms, accounting firms, tax firms. Kung kayo ang gagawa ng EAFS account para sa inyong mga clients, dapat meron kayong isang email address for each and every client. Hindi pwedeng mag-recycle ng email sa EAFS. Plus, another unique email address para sa enrollment ninyo mismo pag gagamit kayo ng EAFS. So let me be clear ha. The EAFS is TIN for the company, is TIN, and for the email, these are TIN and email based, which means any particular TIN can be used as a company TIN only once, while an email address can only be used also once, either as a company email or a representative's email. Kung si company naman mismo ang maggagawa ng EAFS account para sa sarili niya, so hindi siya mag-engage ng services ng authorized tax agent or representative, ang gagawin niya lang, yung taxpayer's information, ita-type niya rin lang sa authorized tax agents or representative information. These are all required fields kasi, so hindi pwedeng may blanco, which means ika-copy-paste mo lang kung ano yung nasa taxpayer information into the authorized tax agent's representative. For username naman, any particular username can only be enrolled once. So, ipaprompt ka ni system kung yung preferred username mo, meron na nag-enroll dati. So, hindi na siya pwedeng i-recycle. So, hindi na siya pwedeng gamitin ulit. So, gagawa ka ng panibagong username. For password naman, we have provided password policies to serve as your guide para makagawa kayo ng inyong password. Once you have provided all the information, click Submit. Lalabas sa Statement of Undertaking. Click Accept. And then, may matatanggap kang email that's with an activation link. And you will have to click the activation link within 72 hours. Once you've clicked the activation link, dadaling ka niya sa account activation successful page. Sinasabi niyang account activation has been successful, and then may click ka dyan pa, you can go back to the login. So, pwede mo na ngayon gamitin si EAFS. So, paano nga ba gamitin si EAFS sa pagpapasa ng inyong financial statements and other attachments to the AITR? So, sa login page, type your username, password, and click login. In the home page, in the left side, click File Upload. Now, RMC 43-2021 rationalized the file definitions in the EAFS. So ngayon meron ng 5. Ano yung 5 pwedeng ipasa? ITR, the financial statements, 1709, others, and the tax credits. Mamaya gawa natin ng example kung ano ba yung mga isa't isa na yan at gaano kalalaki yung mga file na yan. So, meron tayo ngayon sa EAFS, 1 upload box for the ITR, 1 upload box for the financial statements, 1 upload box for the Form 1709 and its attachments, 3 upload boxes for tax credits, and 1 para sa others. So ano ba yung mga yan? Yung ITR, hindi po natin i-upload yung ITR mismo. Ang i-upload po natin dyan is the PDF file of the FRN if you filed using the EFPS, or the email confirmation if you filed using the EBR forms. Only the FRN or the email confirmation will be attached in your submission in the EAFS. There's no need to attach the ITRs themselves kasi again, in electronically file nyo na yan. May kopya na kami yan. No need to submit it using the EAFS. Okay? So, ang i-attach lang natin ngayon, para lang may reference kami kung para saan ba yung pinapasa ninyong attachments, ang i-attach nyo lang sa EAFS is the email confirmation and or the FRN if you're an EFPS user. For the audited financial statements, actually, this is not just audited financial statements. Kung yung financial statements yung isang audited, dito nyo pa rin ipapasa. So, nandyan yung statement of management responsibility, audit certificate if it's audited, the financial statements, balance sheet, income statement, owner's equity, cash flow statement, the notes of financial statements, and such other schedules as may be required as annexes and attachments to the AFS, dito po natin i-upload. Kung kayo naman ay required na magpasa ng related party ng forms using Form 1709, transactions with related parties, dito po natin i-attach yung 1709. Meron tayong tatlong upload boxes para sa mga tax credits. Bakit yung ITR, FS 1709 sa others, tigi-tigisa lang, pero yung tax credits, marami? Kasi sa experience po namin when we were developing the EAFS way back 2020, and it's true until now, ang pinakamaraming pinapasa is not the FS themselves, it's not the ITR, but the tax credits, lalo na sa mga taxpayers po natin na LT, mga large taxpayers, sobrang dami nilang tax credits. Kaya naglagay kami ng hanggang 3 for each submission. However, hindi ibig sabihin nun na isang beses ka lang pwede magpasa. Pwede ka magpasa within the deadline kung kakapusin ka dito. Okay, so basta ang intention lang namin, for each submission, up to 3 fields ng tax credit pwede mong ipasa. And tulad nga ng sinabi ko kanina, nung dinidiscuss natin yung 2316, pag nagpasa kayo sa EAFS, dito papasok yung 2316, or for ITR purposes naman, dito papasok yung mga 2307s na i-claim nyo tax credit, 2306, and yung inyong i-claim na kung kayo ay mixed income earners, so may 2316 din kayo, dito nyo ipapasok yun sa tax credit, but it should be one long PDF file. Okay? Hindi siya one field or one file per 2307. Kasi baka sabihin nyo, meron na akong 1,000 2307. 3 lang yun nandyan. So, ibig sabihin, 3 ipapasa ko, then 3 and 3 and 3 and 3 hanggang sa makompleto 1,000. Hindi po. One long file lang. So, yung 1,000 na yon ipapasok nyo dito sa tax credits number 1. Kaya niya i-accommodate yung 1,000. Yung others naman, para sa 2304, proof ng original return, kung this is an amended return, so on and so forth. Kung ginamit nyo or balak nyo gamitin si EAFS sa susunod na taon para magpasa ng 2316, si Annex C saka si Annex F, dito nyo sa others ilalagay. Tapos yung mga 2316 naman ng mga employees nyo qualified for substituted filing, sa tax credits nyo i-attach. Okay? So yan yung mga fields na pwede nyong gamitin sa pag-upload ng mga files niyo sa EAFS. Pero paano ba? Kasi ang una ninyong gagawin, you have to first select the applicable period. Ito bang submission na gagawin ninyo for quarterly? So first, second, third, or fourth quarter. After nun, piliin ninyo yung month kung ano yung ipapasa ninyo. So kung ako ay magpapasa ng annual ITR ko, so period ko is annual, month ko is December kung calendar ako. Kung fiscal year ako ended June, edi period is annual, month is June. Then isa-select ko yung year. Pag ginawa natin yon, ang gagawin ni system, ita-tailor fit niya yung file names base sa period, month, and year na sinelect mo para yung naming convention madali nang gawin. Now, si EAFS, ang tinatanggap niya lang na file is PDF. Hindi pwedeng Word, hindi pwedeng Excel, hindi pwedeng JPEG, hindi PNG. It must be in PDF. Now, each file size rather, has a limit of 4.8 gigabyte. So, yung mga boxes po natin, itong mga boxes natin na yan, each of these boxes can accommodate 4.8 gigabytes. So, almost 5 gig. Which means for each and every submission, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 boxes. You can upload almost 35 gigabytes worth of file for each submission. Now, let's put into context yung 4.8 gig. Gaano karaming pages ba yon? Ang 4.8 gig na PDF, that's equivalent to 10,000 pages. So kung meron kang ITR, ang i-attach mo dyan is FRN lang or email confirmation, 1 page lang yon o 2 pages. Kung sinama mo yung in-screenshot mo sa FRN, 2 pages, kayang-kaya kasi kaya niyan 10,000. FS mo, kung 300 pages yan, kayang-kaya 10,000 pages yan. Form 1709, 10,000 pages yan. Tax credit, meron kang 1,000 tax credit, yung tax credit 1 lang ang gagamitin mo. Kasi kaya 1,000 doon. Kaya doon yung 1,000 mo kasi 10,000 yon. Now, if you have 30,000 2307s, magagamit mo lahat nung tatlo. Kung meron kang 40,000 tax credit, grabe ang dami ng tax credit mo, ano? If you have 40,000 tax credits, that will be the time i-file mo muna, i-submit mo muna to ng isang beses and then mag-submit ka uli ng isa pa para dun sa tax credit na hindi mo na-submit. And then yung others, kayang-kaya yan kasi sigurado ko hindi naaabutin ng 10,000 pages yun eh. So ganun kalaki ang kayang i-accommodate ni EAFS per submission. And walang limit kung gaano karami kayo pwedeng mag-submit. As long as of course you submit within the deadline. So once you have selected the period, the month, and the year, lalabas na yung required naming convention. So all you have to do now is copy and paste yung naming convention. So for the ITR, nandyan yung naming convention. For the FS, nandyan, 1709, others and tax credits. Ka-copy and paste nyo lang yon para ilagay dun sa file na i-upload niyo sa EAFS. So take note that all the files that you submit will be encrypted and can only be viewed by the BIR. Okay, so make sure that the files that you have uploaded are the files that you want to submit. Kasi once uploaded na yan, hindi nyo na makikita yan sa system. Well, of course, you have your local copies. So pwede mong makita pa din yung file ninyo. Pero hindi mo na ma-verify sa iyong EAFS account kung tama nga ba yung naipasa mo once you have clicked submit. So make sure that that the files that you submitted, that you attach, are exactly what you want to submit. Pag satisfied ka na, click nyo yung submit. Lalabas sa statement of undertaking. Click accept. Tapos may lalabas na file upload confirmation page. Now, you may take a screenshot of this because this has the date and time of your submission as well as the transaction code. So this may serve as proof of submission using the EAFS habang wala ka pang natatanggap na email confirmation. Now, aside nga dito sa screenshot nito, may matatanggap ka ring email confirmation. So it will also indicate there whether or not the files are valid or invalid. It also shows there the transaction code, the date and time of submission, and the TIN. Itong natanggap niyong email na to, this shall serve as proof of submission using the EAFS, and this is equivalent dun sa manual na tinatatakan dati. Okay? So, ipiprint nyo lang this email, itago ninyo ito, gusto nyo iprint ninyo para meron kayong hard copy na for your reference, kasi this shall serve as proof of your submission using the EAFS for the files marked as valid. Now, aside from the screenshot, aside from the email, pwede mo ring i-view sa EAFS account mo. Sa transactions, click mo yung transactions. makikita mo dyan lahat ng upload na ginawa mo. Dadalhin ka niya sa transaction summary page and you can sort the summary per upload date and pwede mong i-search using the transaction code or remarks kung naglagay ka ng remarks. Besides the remark, there is a action button, action icon which you can click. Pag click mo yan, ipapakita niya sa iyo yung summary nung files na in-upload mo for that particular transaction. So again, itong transaction code, ito yung proof mo ngayon na nagpasa ka using the AFS. And once you click the action icon, you can see there the files uploaded in that particular transaction. So this shall serve as proof of submission using the EAFS. However, you cannot view them, the files. You can just see the file names. Again, the files are encrypted, so only the BIR has access to these files. You have your local files. So if, for example, you want a certified true copy for whatever reason, you have your local file, print it. You can now also print this transaction code at dalhin mo sa yung RDO. Para sa access ni RDO, titignan niya ngayon kung okay, meron nga ba talagang pinasa siyang ganito. Makikita namin sa access ng RDO mo kung meron kang pinasa. Compare that with the hard copy that you presented. And once we verify that these are indeed the same, makakakuha ka ng certified true copy ng iyong financial statements and other attachments submitted via the EAFS. Now, the hard copies of the submissions made using the EAFS are to be kept consistent with relevant issuances and presented upon request by the BIR. So, kailangan pa bang pumunta sa BIR after magpasa sa EAFS? Sabi ko nga kanina, there is no need. Hindi mo na kailangan pumunta sa BIR para magpatatak. Una, RMC 87-2024 provides that for returns required to be filed electronically, submission shall be made using the EAFS or ESUB, whichever is applicable. So, wala nang hard copy. Now, in case naman nagpasa ka na through the EAFS, hindi mo na rin kailangan pumunta sa BIR kahit subsequently magka-down yung system kasi yung natanggap mong email na merong transaction reference number, yun na yung proof ng submission mo sa EAFS as if tinatakan na ni BIR yon. Now, for SEC, for example, for SEC purposes, for example, hindi na rin kailangan pumunta para magpatatak. Kasi yung printout ng email transaction reference, yun na rin yung ipapasa ninyo sa SEC. Proof na yun na na-receive siya ni BIR. So that's the last slide. So I hope medyo nalinawan kayo on the use of the EAFS, lalo na with RMC 87-2024.
Thank you for sharing with us your presentation, Sir AJ. And that concludes our set of topics for today's live webinar. On behalf of everyone here today, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our resource speakers for sharing their time, expertise, and valuable insights with us. Your knowledge and experience have truly enriched our understanding of annual income tax return for partnerships and corporations, and we deeply appreciate the effort you put into delivering such an informative session. And we are now moving on to the question and answer session. Actually, nauna na si Sir AJ sa chat box natin sa Zoom. Ayan. So we have gathered questions both in Zoom and Facebook po, but we will be skipping questions already answered by Sir AJ. So our first question is from Ayan, may we invite po yung speakers natin, Ma'am Amy, Ma'am Linda, and Sir AJ to please open your camera po and join us po in Q&A session. Thank you po. Ayan, we would like to encourage po the tax-paying public to pay as you file. Pay your exact tax on or before April 15, 2025. And also, we would like to take this opportunity to please like and follow po ang social media accounts po ni BIR to be updated with the latest tax issuances and tax news and activities of BIR. Ang official Facebook page po ni BIR ay Bureau of Internal Revenue Philippines. Please follow na rin po ang official Facebook po ng aming commissioner, which is Romeo June Lumagi Jr. On X po, formerly known as Twitter, BAR Gov PH. Okay, and please like and follow po sa aming YouTube channel, which is PAR Gov PHL. And okay po, before we proceed to Q&A session, we will be having a short break po. Thank you. Thank you for staying with us. And now we will proceed to the Q&A session. Again, may we invite po our speakers to open their cameras and join me with the Q&A session. Sir AJ, Ma'am Amy, and Ma'am Linda.
Good morning.
And good morning po. So for our first question po from Zoom, good morning po. One-person corporation po kami at may certificate of authority, BMBE, as BMBE tax exempt po ba?
Yes po. Exempt po siya. 1702EX po ipa-file.
Okay, thank you po. Next question po. Anong tax rate po gagamitin kapag sa normal below 5 million po ang taxable net income? Sa OST po, nag-a-above 5 million po ang taxable net income. Below 100 million po asset. OSD po kami. Ano po ang gagamitin? 20% or 25%?
May sinagot na akong ganyan kanina, Ma'am Amy.
Sige, go. Hindi,
Hanggang
actually, hindi ko
Ah,
masyadong naintindihan yung below 5
okay.
million yung taxable
kapag,
income.
kapag naka-itemize siya. Pero pag
Ah,
nag-OSD daw siya, lumalagpas. Kasi nga, mas mataas ang deduction ng itemized. Pero sabi niya dun sa last part ng question niya, parang naka-OSD daw sila. So kung naka-OSD ka, so ang result nun is mas mataas ng 5 million yung kanilang taxable income,
income.
less than 100 million ng asset. So
Percent.
ang tax rate, ma'am, is
25%.
walang
Okay, thank you po.
kinalaman yan. Dapat hindi siya na
Both kasi dapat. Both.
um,
Ah,
nagkataon kasi nag-OSD ka
di ka,
ngayon. Hindi siya na sa nag-OSD, edi mas mababa sana.
ah,
Thank you po. Next question po. Good morning po. Question po. If my GPP and sole prop business from 1701EX or 1701 po yung gagamitin, if matagal na po ongoing yung closure ng corporation pending with BIR, required pa rin po ba mag-submit ng tax forms?
nag-apply na siya ng closure sa BIR.
Opo.
Kung nag-apply na siya ng closure at tama ba ako, Sir EJ, at inundate na yung tax niya, yung tax form, hindi na niya kailangan mag-file. Pero kung hindi pa kasi ini-endate yun, kailangan mag-file pa rin siya ng return. Kasi kung hindi, magkakaroon siya ng stop filer.
Okay, thank you po. Next question po. Good morning. Yung company namin is my joint ventures to other contractors. All JVs are registered naman. Kaso sa 2303, ang tax type na naka-indicate ay RF only. Tapos we asked the BIR personnel kung paano ba ang reporting ng VAT at saka IT. Ang sabi nila is prorated daw po based on contract agreement. Tama po ba yun?
Medyo masalimuot po kasi ang joint venture. I think mas maganda talaga kung sa RDO. Baka mamaya magkamali kami. Ma-quote po tayo dito. Marami kasing nuances ang joint venture eh. So mas maganda kung doon lang po tayo sa RDO. Anyway, we have a newly released regulation, parang last week lang po yata or 2 weeks ago, regarding the taxability of tax-exempt joint venture. So they can use that as a start ng pag-discuss kung paano ba yung taxability po ng JVs nila.
Okay, thank you po. Next question po. Good day po. Would just like to seek an advice. What should be the proper tax treatment for representative officers of foreign corporations? Is there a BIR issuance specifying their tax exemption, or should they be taxed po under the 25% rate? And in relation to that, what should most likely be the appropriate BIR forms to be used?
Representative offices po kasi are considered as non-resident corporation not engaged. So since they are not engaged in their business in the Philippines, they are not allowed to earn income in the Philippines. So exempt sila from income taxes. However, we have a ruling na sinasabing exempt sila from filing, kaya lang for SEC purposes, kailangan pa rin nila magpasa ng FS. So tama ba, Ma'am Amy, they still need to file 1702EX para makapagpasa sila ng FS nila.
Yes, pero parang ang tinatanong yung employee ba? Or tama ba, Camille?
Is there a BIR issuance specifying their tax exemption po or should be taxed under the 25% rate? Representative offices of foreign corporations po.
So office nga. Okay. Ano sila? Exempt sila. BIR 1702EX.
Okay. Thank you po. Next po, ano po ang gagamitin na tax return pag non-stock, non-profit educational institution?
Kung meron sila nung Certificate of Tax Exemption, ang gagamitin nilang return ay BIR Form 1702EX. Pero kung wala pa sila nun, tax sila as regular income tax, so 1702RT.
Okay, next question po. Lahat po ba ng 2307 and 2316 e-submission na po? E-submission na po.
Paano kaya yung e-submission niya? So, dalawa kasi possible na submission na tinutukoy. Una, 2307 ni as claiming tax credits. Okay, if you're claiming tax credits or assuming you're mixed income earner, so may 2307 ka and may 2316 ka, yung 2307 mo, kailangan mong ipasa yon as south sa e-submission. Pero yung 2316, wala na yung e-sub. So, e-sub ka ng 2307. But for claiming it as tax credits in your ITR, you will need to submit both the 2307 and the 2316 sa EAFS along with the proof of e-submission ng 2307 mo.
Okay po. Next question po. Hi po, startup company po. Paano ko po malalaman kung mandated ako to enroll for EFPS or okay lang po ba na mag-EBIR forms kami?
Sir AJ, ako na lang po. Good morning, everyone. So since it's startup, so usually EBIR forms ang gagamitin kasi lahat po ngayon online filing na. So EBIR forms po. Kasi yung mga non-EFPS user, lahat po EBIR forms. Wala na pong ibang gagamitin na filing facility kundi EBIR forms.
Okay po. Next question po. Paano po magbayad through Maya?
Akin pala ulit. So, mag-download lang po kayo ng Maya app. Tapos, yun po, para din kayo nagbabayad ng mga bills nyo. So, gamitin nyo lang po yung Maya app. And then, nandun na po yung kung paano nyo ipi-fill out yung mga required po na information na kailangan ni BIR. So, yun lang po. Basta, as long as kaya ng wallet ninyo, pwede po kayo magbayad using the Maya app.
Okay, thank you po. Next question po, anong RR po ang guidelines for the names ng lahat po ng attachment?
Nag-start po yung naming convention is yung RMC 49-2020, kaya lang marami na tayong enhancement. But for naming convention, actually, they don't need to refer to the issuance anymore because as long as they select the appropriate period, month, and year, automatic nang mag-update si EAFS. Lalabas na doon kung ano yung yung filing name, yung file name na gagamitin nila. So copy-paste na lang nila yun doon sa file. Naka-silent ka, Ma'am Camille?
Thank you po. Next question po, if EFPS filer or user po, option din po ba ang EBIR form as submission to?
Ay, Sir AJ, ako lang tapos pwede mo na ma-clarify ulit. So, mamaya po i-detail. So, iba po yung sa submission, iba yung sa filing. So, sa EBIR po, filing of return lang po ang gagawin natin. For the submission, yun po yung diniscuss ni Sir AJ. Sir AJ, pwede kang magdagdag. Same yung kahapon yan eh.
Oo nga, parehas lang. Anyway, Ma'am, sige, paulit niya yung tanong, Ma'am Camille, kung kailangan...
If EFPS filer or user po, option din po ba ang EBIR form as submission to?
Okay, yung keyword kasi doon, Ma'am Linda, is yung salitang submission no? For filing of returns, you use either EFPS or EBIR forms for the filing of the tax return. But for the submission of your attachments, you have to use EAFS. So tatlo kasi yon. We have the filing, the payment, and the submission. The filing of the returns as discussed by Ma'am Amy using EFPS or EBIR forms. The payment are either over the counter through AABs or e-payment gateways, as well as yung EFPS side, yung payment side, as discussed by Ma'am Linda. And then submission of attachments to your tax returns, yung po yung diniscuss ko, which is through EAFS.
Okay, thank you po. Next question. Need po ba mag-letter sa BIR office kapag enroll sa EFPS pero nagkakaroon ng problem sa account tapos mag-manual payment po?
Meron po tayong lumabas na Revenue Memorandum Circular 87/2024 na nagsasabi din po doon na just in case po na hindi pa na-process yung enrollment ninyo sa EFPS tsaka sa bangko kung saan po kayo may account, pwede po muna kayo mag-manual. Pwedeng kung na-approve na po yung enrollment nyo sa filing, pwedeng ang filing po is through EFPS but payment is through over-the-counter or dun sa e-payment kung applicable po sa inyo. Pero pwede pong gumamit ng EBIR forms for filing until such time na ma-process na po yung enrollment nyo sa bank.
Okay, thank you po. Next question po, saan pwede makita yung TIN branch code? Is it different from RDO code?
Makikita doon sa Certificate of Registration. Sa TIN kasi 'di ba yung first 9, yun yung main number. Tapos yung susunod na 5, yun yung branch code. Iba yon sa RDO code.
Okay po, next question po. Hello po. Paano po kung wall po sa 2303 yung 1702 MX? Need to update po ba ang 2303 or pwede po kami gumamit ng EBAR forms?
Wala. Wala sa wall. Yung wall yata
Okay.
baka wala. Ah,
Opo.
sige.
Kung wala po sa, sorry. Kung
Ah,
wala po sa 2303 yung 1702 MX. Opo.
okay. Kasi ang alam ko, ang nilalagay nila sa 2303, 1702. Tama ba, Sir EJ? 1702 lang. And then, pa magpa-file siya sa EBAR forms, saka kasi hindi naman alam ni parang tawag doon, kung ano yung gagamitin mo doon sa tatlo. Pwede kasi ngayong taon, kabawa, special ka, or ITH ka, so EX ang gagamitin mo. And then after nung ITH mo, magpa 5% ka, so MX na yung gagamitin mo. Kaya naka-generic yung return doon sa COR. Pag magpa-file ka na lang, halimbawa sa EFPS or sa BEBAR forms, doon mo PPDN kung 1702EX, MX, or RT ang gagamitin mo.
Okay, next question po. Hello po, for example, walang babayaran kasi tax exemption at saka foundation. So, ipapa-receive sa BIR office ang hard copy to prove na na-file ng foundation. Salamat.
Kung yung return ng pinag-uusapan natin, lagi, 'di ba sabi nga natin, ano na siya, online na. So, pag nagpasa na siya online o ginamit niya EBAR forms, hindi na kailangan pumunta pa sa RDO para magpatatak kasi ma-receive na ni BIR yung pinasa niya online at ang proof nun, pag balik nung sagot ng tax return receipt confirmation doon sa email niya na doon sinasabi na natanggap na ni BIR yung return na ipinail niya. Yun lang, tama na yun.
Okay, next question po. Tanong lang po yung mga 2307 po ba na nagamit na quarterly, isasama pa po bang isubmit sa EAFS?
Kung nung quarterly returns nila, na-submit na nila using the EAFS yun, no need. Pero kung kiname nila as tax credits for their ITR, quarterly ITR, pero hindi naman nila in-attach, ipapasa pa rin nila ngayon.
Okay, next po. For under national government